You really cannot love people unless you know what love is. And you can know what love is when you actually love yourself. And it is God that teaches us how to love ourselves. Let's have this conversation. My name is Twist Miricho. Welcome to my channel. Last week we talked about how to love yourself by loving your body and touched a little about how to love yourself by loving your soul. And today we continue with the topic. Let's go right ahead. Number 3, self-talk. Gosh, I don't know how much I can be able to stretch this or talk about this because this is an issue. This is a pandemic for sure, because the things that we talk and say to ourselves, it's better to listen to what other people are saying about us, because we could literally be feeling so bad that somebody said something really bad about you, but what you're saying about yourself, and some of us are oblivious of it. We don't even know that we speak such negative things to yourself. And just ask yourself, what are the things that you have been telling yourself? Are you saying that I am a failure, that I am a disappointment, that I cannot be able to achieve anything, that I am not enough, that I am not beautiful, that I am ugly? What is it that you have been telling yourself? Because we speak these things to ourselves. Sometimes you find that you have not been able to achieve just a small thing and you start calling yourself a failure. You start feeling like there is nothing that you can be able to accomplish in this world. And it's just because things didn't work for that specific thing. And can we stop speaking such negative self-talk to ourselves? Let's not have that environment inside of us. Even when you find yourself saying these things to yourself, you need to counter that and start affirming yourself. We need to start patting ourselves in the back. When you have done something and you feel that you have failed, just say, I'm going to try again. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. God has a good plan for me. I have been made in the image of God. Speak these beautiful words to yourself. Speak beautiful and affirming words to yourself. Let's remove negative self-talk. If somebody says something really incorrect about you, you would feel bad about it. But it's so much easier for you to say something so bad and so cruel about yourself, and we just let it go and we just let it slide. We might have failed, but that does not make us a failure. We might not look like Kim Kardashian, but that does not make us ugly. We might not make our parents happy, but we are absolutely not a disappointment. It does not, just because one thing does not work, it does not mean that everything now is not working. So you might not make your siblings happy or your friends happy or your best friend happy, but that does not mean that you are a bad person in general. No. That did not work. Not everything did not work. Stop comparison. Stop comparing yourself with somebody else, because you are uniquely who you are. And just set your standards and compete with yourself and the person that you were yesterday. That's your only competition. Because when you are so unique, competing with other people or comparing yourself with other people is very unfair. There is no way a fish is ever going to compare itself with an elephant, because that's unfair. They are created uniquely for the water, and the elephant is created uniquely for earth. There's no comparison, and it's the same thing. You have been created uniquely for who you are, and therefore become the best version of yourself. Evaluate reasons for doing everything. Ask yourself, why am I doing this? Why am I saying yes to this? Is it because I want to do it, or is it because I want to make this other person happy? Deeply evaluate why you're doing everything and your reasons for doing things, so that you can set a standard for yourself. Allow yourself to say no to people. There are people who don't know how to say no, and they don't think that saying no is something that should be in our vocabulary. Allow yourself to say no, and not just saying no, but also saying no without trying to explain yourself. If somebody is truly your friend, they will absolutely allow you to say no without giving an explanation, because no is an enough answer. So what are your reasons for doing things? Why do you have to go out every Friday? Is it because you really want to go out, or is it because you don't want your friends to think you're not cool enough? Why do you want to go to that baby shower? You know for sure you don't have the money. Is it because you don't want people to think, whoa? Or is it because you really want to be there? Make sure that every time you're doing everything, every decision that you're making it because you deeply want to do it, not because you're doing it for people. That shows that you really value and love yourself. Don't wait for people to validate you. Don't wait for people to say, oh, yeah, she's beautiful. She's smart. She is not a disappointment. Don't wait for people to validate you. Your validation comes from God and from the Word of God. So let the validation come from within, not from outside. They can affirm it. They can affirm what you already know, who you already know you are, but let the validation not come from them. Let it come from God. Take responsibility for your childhood trauma. I know some of us might have gone through some serious childhood trauma, and up until now we're still saying, oh, it's because of my cousin, it's because of my uncle, it's because of my mother, it's because of Siju who, that's why I'm like this, it's because of my aunt, it's because of my uncle. That's true. These things happen and they were very traumatic, and it's true, your uncle did, your mother did, your father did, but now that you are an adult, take responsibility for it. Do something about it. Try to improve yourself. Don't stay at a place where you are like, oh, I think they are the ones that hurt me. My life is miserable because of them. Your life is miserable because you have chosen to not do anything about what has happened to you. So take responsibility. I am sorry that happened, but it's about time that you take responsibility. Stop continuing to blame people that are not going to help you. Take responsibility, because God allowed what happened to you so that it can become a blessing. So work on it. Do something about it. Whatever you can to make sure that you are better. You come out better from this story. Do not wait for everyone to love you. Don't even wait for most people to love you, because only a handful of people will love you for the quality of who you are. Most people are just going to love you for your usefulness. Love yourself for who you are. Do not love yourself for what you are. Don't love yourself because you have a job. Don't love yourself because you are elected president, the class prefect, because you have a good body. Love yourself because you are who you are, because you are created. And ask yourself, would you still love yourself if you did not have what you have? If everything was taken away, everything that you feel proud about and that you feel you have achieved, would you still love yourself if you did not have all of these things? And then number 3 is the spirit. How do we love our spirits? Number 1 is solitude. Spending time alone. There are people who don't know how to spend time by themselves at all. They feel funny about spending time by themselves. They feel funny when they are alone. And that really is not a good thing, because you should enjoy your own company. Having people around is beautiful, but also be able to enjoy being by yourself. Enjoy being the only person in the room, and the room does not feel as if it is tense and there is anxiety, and I just want people around me. And I know there are people who are just extroverts and they just want people around, but as a human being, it is a good spiritual discipline to have solitude in your life, at least every day. Number 2 is just have silence. Have quiet everything. Quiet your phone, quiet your music, quiet your people around. Make sure that it is quiet your thoughts. Experience silence. It's also a spiritual discipline. Make sure that you are silent in your thoughts, in your whatever you can do. If you need to just sit down on the floor and just try and make sure that everything is silent, so that you can be able to adore God. You can be able to worship the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. There are people who don't know to be quiet. Muziki lazima ikuwe uko juu. Just try as much as possible to silence things. Number 3 is studying the Word of God, and not just studying the Word of God, but also meditating on the Word of God. So study the Word of God. Make sure that you're reading the Word of God until it really shows that you love yourself, because you cannot be able to love people if God does not show you His love for you, so that you can be able to experience it and give it to people. And therefore, study the Word of God. Know what God is speaking about your life, so that when thoughts come that are not in line with the Word of God, then you're going to counter them, because you know the Word of God. When you sit on thoughts that are not true, you're meditating on those thoughts and they become true. So sit on thoughts of God about you, not thoughts that are lies. The last one is pray. As a Christian, it is a good spiritual discipline to make sure that you are praying, that you are talking to God and having conversations with Him, letting Him speak to you as you speak to Him. So it really shows that you love yourself when you get time to talk to God. If you don't usually have time to talk to your Creator, to talk to the person that created you, that knows why you live in this earth, that knows what is happening in your life, who are you talking to if it is not the person that created you? And then it shows that you really love yourself if you are able to connect with this God that created you. That is all for today. Thank you so much for spending time with me. I pray and hope that you're going to subscribe and like if you loved any part of this video. My name is Twist Miricho. Let us see you on the next.